Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antya Leela, Chapter 20, Text 52, translation and commentary by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Na Garni Apan Duk Shabe Banchi Tar Shuk Tar Shuk Amar Tatparja More Jodi Dia Duk Tar Hoilo Maha Shuk She Duk Mor Shuk Barja Nagarni Apan Duk Shabe Banchi Tar Shuk Tar Shuk Amar Tatparja More Jodi Dia Duk Tar Hoilo Mahashuk She Duk Mor Shukha Barja.
Nagani apana duk sabe vancha tara shuk.
Nagani apana duk sabe vancha tara shuk.
Tara shuk amara tatparya.
Tara shuk amara tatparya.
More didiya duk tara yaile mahashuk.
More didiya duk tara yaile mahashuk.
Sei dukha mora shukha bharya.
Sei dukha mora shukha bharya.
Nagani apan duk sabe vanchi tar shuk.
Nagani apan duk sabe vanchi tar shuk.
Tara suk amar tatparja.
Tara suk amar tatparja.
More jadi dia duk tara hoilo mahasuk.
More jadi dia duk tara hoilo mahasuk.
Sei duk mor sukha bharja.
Sei duk mor sukha bharja.
Any ladies like to chant?
Nagani apana duk sabe vanchi tara shuk. Tara shuk amar tatparja. More jadi dia duk tara hoilo mahasuk. Sei dukha mor sukha bharja.
I do not mind my personal distress. I only wish for the happiness of Krishna, for his happiness is the very meaning of my life. However, if he feels great happiness in giving me distress, that distress is the best of my happiness. Purport: Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that a devotee does not care about his own happiness and distress. He is simply interested in seeing that Krishna is happy, and for that purpose he engages in various activities. A pure devotee has no way of sensing happiness except by seeing that Krishna is happy in every respect. If Krishna becomes happy by giving him distress, such a devotee accepts that unhappiness as the greatest of all happiness. Those who are materialistic, however, who are very proud of material wealth and have no spiritual knowledge, like the Prakrita Sahajiyas, regard their own happiness as the aim of life. Some of them aspire to enjoy themselves by sharing the happiness of Krishna. This is the mentality of fruitive workers who want to enjoy sense gratification by making a show of service to Krishna. Om Jnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurinmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Shrishtam Manum Api Shatti Putramatra Swarupam Rupam Tasyagrajamurupurim Maturim Goshtavartim Radha Kundam Girivaramaho Radhika Madhavasham Prapto Yasya Pratita Kripaya Shri Gurum Tamnatasmi Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Atafadagamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Visakan Vitamscha Guru Vaishnav Bhagavan Tina Smarane Hoy Vigna Vinashan Anayashe Hoy Nijavan Chita Puran Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This verse is from the end of Chaitanya Charitamrita, the last chapter, and it is one of the verses in which Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami unpacks the 8th verse of Shikshashtaka, the last verse of the Shikshashtaka. And Krishnadas Kaviraj goes on to express Radha's feelings that if there is a rival of mine, Chandravali, who Krishna wants to meet, but that rival doesn't want to meet Krishna, then she, Radha, will go and beseech that stubborn woman to agree to Krishna's proposal. So this is at the end of Chaitanya Charitamrita, spoken by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the mood of Radha. And you may wonder why we bring up this topic at initiation, which is the beginning, the entrance into spiritual life. Well, we have to know what we're getting initiated into. There are so many gurus and so many panths or paths, and they all have different goals. If you're initiated in, say, the Nath Sampradaya of Gorakhnath, which is a mystical, Shaivite, impersonalist yoga sampradaya, if that conveys anything, then your goal is going to be, I guess it's ultimately, well, there are different branches in that sampradaya also, but it's going to be some impersonal aim, and your abhidheya is also set up there with yoga practice if you're a renunciant in that sampradaya. By the way, Yogi Adityanath, if you may have heard his name, he's the head of that sampradaya. I guess he doesn't have much time to do that nowadays. And if you're initiated into many modern groups, you don't really have any aim or anything to do. You're just part of it, that's all. They're not part of a tradition, not part of it, just superficial, very superficial. If you're initiated in the Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya, then the aim is Kainkarya, attaining direct service to the Supreme Lord in Vaikuntha. And your abhidheya, your process, may differ somewhat according to which branch of the sampradaya you are in. So we start at the beginning, start with the end in mind, is one of the principles. How many are there? 7 principles of highly, 7, 8? 7 principles of highly successful people. It's a good analysis. Start with the end in mind. What are you doing? Why are we doing this? There should be an ultimate goal. There may be intermediate goals. What is the ultimate goal? Taking initiation means we agree to accept a whole lifestyle with many restrictions, many do's and do nots in the age and in the country where freedom of the individual is prized as the very right of every human being, this country especially, more than others. In France they had their revolution. What was that? Égalité, fraternité, liberté, égalité, fraternité. But not, they didn't say freedomité, whatever the word is in French. But it's very much emphasized in America. Freedom. But taking initiation means to voluntarily accept so many curtailments on your freedom. You must do this, don't do that. And it's not just one, there's a whole list. Of course, at the time of initiation, there's 1 do and 4 don'ts, but actually there are many more. So what's the purpose? Why are we doing this? We should know what we're being initiated into. And this verse, which we just read, gives an idea. So we're all going to become Radharani, is that the idea? No. That's another bogus idea. Or we're all going to become gopis? Maybe. You don't have to become a gopi. But the mood here is the fulfillment, that the highest fulfillment of Krishna's ultimate teaching in Bhagavad Gita, Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mang namaskaro mame vaishasi satyang te pratijjane priyosime sarvadhaman parityaja mamekam sharanang raja. And we'll stop there because the last 2 lines don't fit with what Radha is expressing here. This is love beyond surrender. So Krishna is recommending, as his ultimate recommendation in Gita, is to always think of him, become his devotee, worship him, bow down to him, and in this way come to him. He promises Arjuna, you're my very dear friend. So giving up all ideas of dharma, Arjuna started with the idea that we have to follow dharma. I don't think that this is dharma to fight in this circumstance. So Krishna said, well, forget all ideas of dharma and just surrender to me, fully, totally. And then he goes on to say, I shall deliver you from all sinful reaction. But that doesn't apply here. When we're getting up beyond surrender, I will deliver you from all sinful reaction, and automatically the devotee is freed from sinful reactions. But the mood of Radha is that, well, it may be sinful, but anyway, I love Krishna. What can I do? I have to serve Krishna. There's a bit of a business deal in there. You do this, and you do this, you surrender to me, and I'll do this for you. I'll deliver you from all sinful reactions. But at the stage of Vraja Prema, the Gauriya Vaishnava Sampradaya is aiming at love of Krishna on the level of the residents of Vrindavan. So what I get out of it is not considered. Simply we have to serve Krishna. So the feelings expressed in this verse must be adopted by everyone who aspires to attain Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's gift of Vraja Prem. One who can say from the bottom of his heart, Tar Shuk Amar Tatparja, his happiness is the very meaning of my life. Any devotee who can say that and fully mean it and feel it is at the highest pinnacle of spiritual advancement. We're not there, but that's our aim. That's what we're getting initiated into. So for those who aspire to this perfection, which was revealed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this is the clue. Revealed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings are founded on, of course, all the Vedic literatures, particularly Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam was widely studied and recited and commented upon prior to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu discovered within Srimad Bhagavatam Vraja Prema up to the level of the gopis, and particularly Srimati Radhika. He revealed that from Bhagavatam. So for those who aspire to attain the gift, the perfection revealed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this Nagarni Apanduk, Tarshuk Amar Tatparja, I don't consider my own distress. His happiness, Krishna's happiness, is the very meaning of my life. So for those who aspire to this, which means those who are initiated into Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sampradaya, not the Prakrita Sahajya section, they're not accepted. But meditation on this mood and internalization of this attitude is the basis of all spiritual activities. It's a voluntarily accepted, you could call it a contract if you like. It's approaching the Guru says, you do what I say and you will get this. So there's some kind of a contract there. But it's personally accepted, and it's understood that when you come to a Guru, you accept discipline. Shishya, disciple, means discipline. Shashan, anushashan. So generally it's considered you accept a Guru and then you have some difficulty, and then afterwards it's all bliss when you attain perfection. You go through a certain period of austerity and difficulties, and then afterwards it's all bliss. In Vaikuntha, no anxiety, all bliss. But then in Vrindavan, full of anxiety, a lot of distress. And you may think, why are you signing up for this? You're being cheated. It's a cult. It's brainwashing. If you see the actual goal. But this distress is the highest happiness. So we're not denying personal happiness. We are, in one sense, yes. But the sense of giving oneself fully is the highest happiness, if we know who to give ourselves to. We find in mundane love affairs, someone may give themselves fully to someone else. But it's either within this lifetime distress, or it turns to distress, or it's temporary. Dukhalayam ashashvatam. Either in this life the happiness turns to distress, when the lover doesn't turn out to be what you expected them to be, what you imagined them to be, or even if you have a very nice, loving relationship throughout life and they lived happily ever after. No, it doesn't happen ever after. Death is there to separate. But between Radha and Krishna, the love is eternal, and it is increased, or part of the loving affairs are the apparent rejection. Sometimes Krishna rejects Radha, apparently, and vice versa. And the pain in that is the highest happiness. Hard to understand, not understandable simply by logic, but logic doesn't work in love. Anyone who's fallen in love can understand. We don't advise falling in love. Well, actually, the traditional system in India is that in the West is you fall in love and then you get married. That's out of date now. You neither fall in love or you get married. You just have sex like animals, that's all. But the Indian system is you get married and then you fall in love. That's another discussion. But anyway, our contract, following in the footsteps of Radha and the residents of Vrindavan, is to accept any amount of pain eternally if somehow that will make Krishna happy. And that is the ultimate level that is hinted at in Sarvadhaman Parityaja. So adopting this mood, or at least the resolve to cultivate that mood, is the real meaning of initiation in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sampradaya. Without this, it's not initiated. We think that, okay, what do you do? Yeah, 4 rounds, 4 regular principles, that's it, and then you get initiated. But unless this mood is adopted, then that initiation, it doesn't have any meaning. It's not Gauriya Vaishnava initiation. It's something false. It's a sham. Preliminary, preparatory, you may say, just somehow or other get people to chant 16 rounds, or at least tell you that they're chanting 16 rounds. All you have to do is say it, and then you get the beads in the name. You don't actually have to do it, right? There may be cases like that, where they come up and say, yes, I will chant 16 rounds every day. They never did it in their life, and they have no intention of doing so. But they say that. But this has to be understood before we take initiation. It may be in many cases it's not fully understood, but at least the idea is to fully give ourselves to Krishna. It may not be that everyone who's taking initiation has studied Chaitanya Charitamrita, heard the message of Chaitanya Charitamrita. But the idea, we're fully giving ourselves to Krishna. And how does that manifest? What is that attitude? Pure devotion means anyabhilashita shunyam jnana kamadyanavritam anukulyena krishnanushilanam bhaktir uttama. This is the Rupanuga Sampradaya, following Rupa Goswami. He defines at the beginning of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which Srila Prabhupada said is the guidebook for all devotees, that what we're looking at here is cultivation of devotion to Krishna without any personal goal, either in terms of material enjoyment or intellectual enjoyment or merging into the oneness of the Absolute, but favorably cultivating devotion to Krishna. Favorably means, and then we come to anukulyasya sankalpa pratikulyasya varjanam. This should be understood when taking initiation, that we have to do everything which is favorable for cultivating Krishna consciousness. And what is that? That's also given by Rupa Goswami in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. And giving up all that is unfavorable. And that manifests as Krishnarte Akila Cheshta. Everything we do should simply, all our endeavors should simply be for Krishna. So this is the central premise of Vaidhi Bhakti, following rules and regulations. Do this, don't do that. But it should fructify into this. Nagani apanduk, sabe banchi tarshuk, amar tatparja. It should fructify so that we don't think what does Krishna want, what does Krishna not want, but it's so much internalized. Whatever he wants, that I want. And my own distress, I don't care for that. Whatever he wants, that's what I have to do. Lord Jesus, before his crucifixion, he stated, praying to God, which makes us wonder if he is God himself. But he said, thy will, not mine, be done. In other words, I know I'm going to get crucified, but anyway, if you want it, that's okay. I don't want it. But higher than that is not to have any personal will at all. That thy will is my will. Whatever you want. I don't have any personal, separate ideas. So what is this? Fully acting for Krishna's pleasure. Every atom of our being, every thought, even in our subconsciousness. It's not that there's an undercurrent of rejection or an undercurrent of something different, but completely our whole psyche and personality, everything, it's only meant for his pleasure at every moment, and every moment of every moment, sub-moment. There cannot be, when we come to the perfectional standard, our whole existence is this. There's nothing else but this. When we come to that consciousness, and taking initiation means we have the full faith that we're aiming at this and we can come to this and we will come to this. When we're aiming at that consciousness, with that faith that we will come to this consciousness, then we can internalize the same mood as Radharani has toward Krishna. Not that we're going to be on the same level as her, but it's the same mood, and that's the same mood of the residents of Vrindavan. All of them have it. Here in this world, we are trained to become the servant of the Guru. Is that right? Yes, but that means to become the servant of the servant of the servant. 1,000 times removed of Radha. That means servant of the servant of the servant, means servant of the Vaishnavas also. Krishna is Savior. He's the one to be served. Means Radha Krishna. Radhe Vrindavaneshwari. So the same mood, and everyone in Vrindavan, she's the queen of Vrindavan, the transcendental majesty. So everyone is serving her, but it's not everyone's in the mood of a lover, a gopi. So Krishna also cherishes having parents, those on the level of parents, loving him in that way. Krishna loves his friends, he loves the cows, he loves all the living beings. They're servants in the mood of dasya ras, serving like that. And even in Vrindavan, even the creepers and bushes, they're all in a mood of service to Krishna. Uddhava, considered the topmost devotee outside Vrindavan, aspired to become even a grass or a creeper in Vrindavan. Whatever form we may attain ultimately in Vrindavan by immeasurable good fortune. Even to come to this process is our immeasurable good fortune. And then to go completely, all the way, up, 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 up. We can go all the way up. And when we go up completely, then we realize that I'm just meant to be a servant. Instead of trying to conquer the world, simply to consider ourselves lowest of the low. What is the qualification to be a guru? That we should see that's one, yeah, very good. Vacho vegam, manasa krodha vegam, jiva vegam, udaropasta vegam, etan vegan yo vishaheta dhira, sarvam api mam pitiving sashishat. One who has controlled the urge to speak, the urges of the mind, the urges of anger, the urge of the tongue, and the belly and the genitals, can make disciples all over the world. Shrotriyang Brahmanishtam, he should have heard the Vedic message, be fully fixed in it. There are various qualifications given of gurus. One we find again in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, exemplifying Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teaching of utter humility. Jagai madai hoite mui she papishta, puri she kito hoite mui she papishta, jai mora nam shune tara punna koi, jai mora nam loi tar papa hoi. He says that I am more sinful than Jagai and Madhai, who rogues and ruffians in their own class, the Al Capones of Navadvip. I guess he's the most famous criminal in American history, isn't it? Is it? I don't know. Anyway, you get the idea. No, they weren't that organized. They were just street ruffians. But they're pretty bad. So I said, I'm more sinful than them, and I'm lower than a worm in stool. Anyone who hears my name, he says, their pious activities become destroyed. Anyone who says my name becomes sinful. Whew. It's all part of the package. It's all part of the package. Very hard to even imagine thinking like that. It's very hard to think how we could not care for our own happiness and not care for our own distress. That's what we're aiming at. It is such a high aim. When we talk about Radha Dasya, it's being the highest aim when we may think of tying Radha's hair or fanning her. That's very nice. But first, we have to have this mode. Otherwise, no entrance there. Is it possible? It seems impossible. But it's possible by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy. It's a long way away. If we think that it's a long... If we think we're a long way from it, that's good. Because if we think I'm just round the corner, I'll just chant Hare Krishna for a day or two, and then I'll be dancing in the Rasa Leela. If we think we're already there, or we're just almost there, then we're probably not there at all. At the same time, we should know by the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which is coming through Rupa Goswami and all the acharyas, it is possible. Otherwise, why did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu come to this world? Why did Rupa Goswami come? Why did they write the books? Why did Srila Prabhupada come? By the mercy of Rupa Goswami, who encapsulated all the teachings, the highest teachings of all the most spiritually advanced people. He encapsulated this, anyabhilashita shunyam, to have no personal desire. Simply to want to love Krishna, love God, serve Him. If we just take up this attitude, I have no other goal in life but to serve Krishna and love Krishna, which means to serve Krishna and love His devotees. And then extend that to everyone, every living being, even the worms in stool. You probably never even seen a worm in stool. How many of you have seen a worm in stool? If you go even in the villages in India nowadays, they have toilets with flush and all this. Well, flush means you have to pour the water, but in the field, you'll see. It's not a desirable situation. That's bad karma. Very bad karma to end up like that. But if we think, I am lower than that, I am the servant of every living being, that is the highest level of spiritual attainment. And it begins by this attitude that we're not meditating on worms in stool, we're meditating on Krishna with the idea to serve Him. But then we see everything, the whole creation, everything is His, it's meant for Him, and we're here to serve Him in this world, within this world. And by accepting this attitude, at least remembering it and always thinking, I'm here to serve, I'm not to enjoy, not here to enjoy. Start applying that in our life. Then we can be a disciple. Because to be a disciple means we're voluntarily accepting difficulties for the sake of spiritual advancement. And whatever line it is, whether it's the yoga line, even in karma kanda, you have to accept so many rules. If anyone is supposed to be a guru and he doesn't give any rules to the disciple, it's completely meaningless. Because you have to give a program, you have to give discipline, you have to give a process, and there has to be acceptance by the disciple. How can you be a general in an army? You're simply making some military strategies. But the soldiers have to accept discipline and sacrifice for the sake of the cause, for the fighting for the country or whatever it is. You have to be trained, and this training is one thing, and accepting the discipline is another. And you have to be prepared to follow the orders. So it's something like that. Of course, we're not here to go out and kill people, but we have a mission. And to execute that mission, we have to practice the mood given by Rupa Goswami. The yogis, those who are on the mystic yoga process, they have very difficult austerities. They may have to do many fasts, many difficult exercises. We don't do that. Sometimes we fast, never more than one day. Actually, if we follow properly Ekadashi, then we will do regularly. But we don't emphasize that much. Our process is not difficult. It's simply joyful. But the internal discipline is more difficult than that of the yogis. It's more difficult to get rid of the egoism of thinking, what's in it for me? And to take the position of the servant, to have that, it's more difficult. The yogis may be very accomplished by austerities and practice, but see Durvasa with Ambarish. Durvasa, he was such a great yogi, he could just pull some hair out of his head and make a demon. But why would he even do that? That means he wasn't Krodha Vegam, he hadn't controlled his anger. And although he'd got so much mystic power, he was very egoistic. He hadn't controlled his ego. And on the other hand, Ambarish Maharaj, who was not even a Brahmin, not performing the austerity. Of course, he'd been following Ekadashi, and then he went another whole year only drinking water until Durvasa came back. So he could do that, but he was completely free of fear, completely egoless. But for the devotees aim to become Nijamane Sprihahin. We just sung that. Shakale Shanman. Karite Short. Give me the power to give respect to others. It's a very high and difficult. Difficult in the sense of yeah, it's easier to become a yogi with mystic powers, which isn't easy at all, than to become free of the egoism of thinking everything in this world is meant for my enjoyment. But we get that by the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the mercy of Rupa Goswami and all the acharyas in Parampara, by chanting Hare Krishna, but internalizing this mood. I'm here to be a servant, and in the course of service, I have to accept so many difficulties. Even famously, the Guru, well, Srila Prabhupada, he used to chastise his disciples. The disciple is supposed to be ready for that. I think nowadays in this age where everyone's super sensitive and they get upset even at microaggressions, what to speak of the Guru calling you rascal, fool, and so on. I don't know how much people can take, but we should be ready. Should be ready for that. Srila Prabhupada, he even said that even if the disciple's not doing anything wrong, still should chastise him. So, to be a disciple means to accept all troubles and austerities, specifically in the service of the Guru, who is seen as Mukunda Preshta. The Guru is to be seen as very dear to Krishna, and the Guru teaches us or accepts the service to pass it up to Krishna. Guru is linked with Krishna through the disciplic chain, Guru-disciple chain, and by engaging in service teaches how to serve Krishna, how to serve Radha and Krishna. So in our sampradaya, in our line, in the Vaishnava lines, it's understood that service to Guru is service to Krishna. So this is initiation into Radha Bhav. This is our line. Look at the top. Look where I am. We have to go up. But if we think I'll go up in the way a materialist thinks he'll go up, by pushing others down and seeing I'm going up above others, then we're not going anywhere, we're going down. It's a curious reality, fact of genuine spiritual life, that going up, when we think we're going up, we're not going up. On the other hand, we don't deliberately try to go down. We're trying to go up. We're trying to become pure so that we can, or to purify our existence so that we can become eligible to actually serve Krishna. But if we think that I'm independently eligible to serve Krishna, then we're disqualified, because we have to be the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant. And accepting initiation means to accept service in a particular position to a particular person. Hare Krishna. So now we'll get on with the proceedings.